Cool. What's up, guys? Welcome to Dank Shrine. This is another episode, the second episode of Who the Hell Is This? And today we are asking, who the hell is Cyan? So, if you are a fan of Cyan, welcome to Dank Shrine. If you don't know who Cyan is, welcome to Dank Shrine. You're in the right place. If you don't like Cyan and you kind of just want to have get some nice personal beef and to use against him, welcome to Dank Shrine, I guess. Whatever.
I don't welcome you. Please don't beef. Oh no.
All right, and already Fear Dragon throwing the shade of it.
I told you, man.
Cyan Esports, not Cyan. Please fix overlay. The best part is that's what it was. If you didn't know that earlier. So hello. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty not bad. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
I don't think I lost a single game on ladder today, so I'm feeling good.
Nice. How many games did you play?
Like 4, but still feels good.
Dude, 4-4. That's totally great. That's not 1 or 2, so that's a good number to not lose. That's great.
Right. Yeah. Feels StarCraft, man. All right. So really, like the show name, Who the Hell Is This? I was going to dive right into it. Who the hell are you? Why should we care? Why are you on the show? Let's get some of these things knocked out. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean I mean just like let's.
Yeah, no, sure. That's like
why would I?
Question. Man, I don't know. Hi, my name is Cyan. I am a content creator in esports, working almost entirely with StarCraft 2 at the moment. I do a lot of written stuff lately, primarily written stuff, but most people probably know me for my interviews. I no shade, respect to the Dank Shrine name, respect to everybody else doing the interviews in the scene, but I personally believe that I have some of the best interviews in the scene. I work really, really hard at them to do the editing and the research and everything that's involved, and I try my very, very best to produce the best thing that I can possibly do whenever I do a formal interview that is a video. But I also do a lot of writing, and I do a lot of more chill stuff too, and I stream. And if that is the kind of thing that you are interested in, then I think you should care about me, because I care about you.
Right. So, yeah, you definitely are an extremely hard worker, and I really appreciate what you do. I think you have a huge benefit on the StarCraft community, and I think what makes you perfect for this show, even though I think that your name is known, people know who you are in the community. You're not like some stranger. People aren't like Cyan Esports, like I've never heard that Twitter before. But it's the articles, like people have read your articles and have no idea that you're the one who wrote them, and I think that's a really cool thing, and that's what I'd really like to talk about a lot today, if we can get into those. But yeah, so well, actually about you said no shade thrown at Dank Shrine. Something I found is interesting about it is because I mean we're almost competitors, right? But we're not, because it's. Yep. I mean, Toast's interview style and your interview style, even though y'all interview the same people typically, right? Like y'all have the same kind of target interviewees. It's still just such different interviews entirely. So it's like, while it is competition, it isn't, because both this town is big enough for the two of us, right?
Yeah, I hate to contend, but I actually don't know about that. So for me, if I have my eye on somebody that I'm trying to interview, and this happens like all the time. Maybe it's to my own detriment that I do this, but if Dank Shrine interviews somebody, or if like Joey interviews somebody, or if anybody interviews anybody at all that I have my eye on, I'll be like, well, shit, I missed my window of opportunity, and I just don't interview that person. I have like a minimum. I like to think of it in my head like 6 months, I figure, because I don't want to like overlay content, right? Like you said, we're not actually competitors, right? So even if maybe I see somebody new do an interview with I don't know, some person that I would like to interview, and they just do a really bad job because they're brand new at it, and of course you're not going to do the best job as that you can when you're brand new. I'm not going to look at that and be like, oh, I can do better. I'm going to slide in here and I'm gonna grab all these views for myself, dog, because I'm gonna do it. Like that's not productive. I don't think that builds goodwill for anybody. I don't want to be a competitor to anybody doing interviews. I want us to work together and all succeed as much as we can. That's what's up.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. I'm happy we were able to air that out, because it's everybody's probably like awkward. No, this is great. I really thoroughly enjoy your content. I think that your interviews are fantastic.
Thanks, I can't speak
a
lot of nice stuff here at the beginning.
I don't have you on the show because I don't like you. You know.
I watched the Falcon Paladin one too, by the way, and I thought you did a fantastic job. Like,
thank you.
For somebody that's new coming in. Oh man, I just realized that could have totally been taken as hellish shade towards you. That was not my intention, even slightly.
No. You
did a tremendous job. You did great.
Thank you. As Fear Dragon says, yeah, Cyan feeding Duddles fake news to screw him over as a rival. Yeah, that's exactly what
I'm going to release my own Cyan interview like next week. It's going to be way better than this.
Yeah, right. Oh, that would be. I would love to see that where you actually have like two screens going and just like you ask questions and pause and wait. And
people have done that. I'm not gonna.
It would be good. All right, so I kind of want to go into some current events before we dive too much into you. I just want to get your thoughts out really quick. So, what are your thoughts on? What's the biggest event that's happened? Serral. Like, what did you watch that? Did you enjoy it? How did that go for you?
Yeah, so I actually didn't catch like hardly any GSL versus World. I've just been kind of taking a break the past like month or so. The previous months before that were so busy. I kind of just wanted to sit back and just take a breather for a little bit. It's too warm to focus. But I stayed up for the finals there. I pulled an all-nighter stupidly to do so. And man, that's some crazy stuff. Like, I think the coolest thing about Serral winning GSL versus the World is that, unlike Neeb's victory in 2016, this one cannot be explained away the same way that people try to with Neeb. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, there's an element of Neeb's win in the Kespa Cup that's like, oh, well, you know, like the Kespa teams were all folding, and that was weighing heavily on the player's mind. And that definitely plays a role in that storyline. But I think it's still important. You know, it's a win. A win is a win, and Neeb winning there was a big newsmaker and everything. But Serral had just about the hardest path that he could possibly take in that tournament. He crushed it up until stats, which was like close, but he still won. And then the cherry on the top too is that he didn't even have to play Maru in the tournament, but he just ran into him in the show matches, in the exhibition or whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah, and he still won.
Yeah, and didn't even run into him, right?
Yeah,
he stood up. He volunteered. He was like, I guess I'll fight him. Whatever.
Gave the people what we wanted, you know, because everybody wanted that.
I've never almost cried at StarCraft before, but like watching him stand up, I was like so giddy and had so many chills that I was almost I was close to tears. I don't care. My man card can be out the window. I was like eating ice cream, like it's so beautiful.
Oh, dude. No, I've like wept at StarCraft 2 100% multiple times. I'll own that shit all day long. But yeah, that's such a moment, and it creates so many interesting discussions within the scene too about like what we're going to do with WCS and what should the regions look like and what does this mean? What does it mean? You know, and yeah, I'm kind of loving the vibe right now. It's a really good time to be a StarCraft fan.
Right on. Yeah, it is, and I couldn't be happier. I remember the first time I saw Neeb. Whenever I saw Neeb win in Austin, that was probably the first major StarCraft event that I actually watched live, not just like kind of watched VODs on YouTube whenever I could. And that was just, you know, last April. So I'm actually pretty relatively new to the live StarCraft scene. That was like life-changing for me, just seeing him beat Nertio and just that how it's like baseball, right? I think we're both baseball fans. How do you not get romantic about this sort of thing? These are like Cinderella stories that happen in a video game against people who do it professionally. It's just so cool.
Absolutely.
And it's so neat. And that's why I think what you do as you actually, your title is a journalist, right? You consider it like an esports journalist?
I don't really know. So yeah, I don't know. I consider myself a content creator more than anything else. And the title of like journalist is something that makes sense, that I can say like, oh yeah, I do a lot of journalism work, and people know what that means, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty much like the realm of all of my writing. But I do general content creation too. So I think of myself more as a content creator first, more than just a journalist, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Right. You know, and that's what I think is crazy. So whenever I hear people say things like, "Oh yeah, I'm an esports journalist," to me, the first thing I think is like, okay, so you use Reddit, you know, like you write long posts on Reddit, and that's not what you do. I'm sure you do that too. I just don't really go on Reddit that often, so I haven't seen if you have done that recently, at least. But I mean, like you actually have these things. These things are published. They're on Blizzard, right? Like these are good. I've read a couple of them. They're really cool. Like
Thank you.
really good insight in the game. So if you guys don't know about that, go check it out. If you want to send me some links at any time, I can definitely make sure they're at least even in the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that you asked me to do that. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. By the way, getting this thing scheduled was a lot of fun. We're both live in very different time zones and it's actually not crazy different, but different enough and different schedules, and super busy right now in the esport world. So it was a lot of, but this has been great. I'm just happy that we're actually able to be here. Cool. So what's the first time you actually got published with an article? Do you remember like your first article?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So I was like just browsing Twitter, and Joe from Nerd Street Gamers had posted a tweet, something like, "Hey, my old boss is looking for somebody who can write about StarCraft 2 esports for money. Hit me up," or whatever. And I didn't know Joe at all. I knew pretty much just nobody at this point in time in StarCraft, but I was becoming recognized on Reddit as like a YouTube guy. So I slid into his DMs and I was like, "Hey, I like StarCraft and I happen to like money, and sometimes I may even enjoy writing. What's the gig?" And he was like, "Oh, hey, cool, Cyan, you're actually somebody who I was thinking about reaching out to." I was like super flattered at that point. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know this guy." And he put me in touch with Drexen, who is the editor at Esports Heaven. And Esports Heaven is like my longest relationship as a writer, I guess. And he wanted me to do some pitches and see what I could come up with, kind of thing. And I gave him my pitches. I spent a week and I brainstormed. And I was like, here's my pitches. I think these could all be really good articles that could like net you views. And I didn't end up doing any of them. I had the opportunity to interview Kellizer because I knew Katz a little bit. I was doing some work with Root, and I was like, "Hey, Katz, could you just feed me a pro player who's like cool to just interview?" And he gave me Kella. That was my very first piece. I wrote up a little interview. Kella was great, and yeah, that's my very first article on esportsheaven.com.
That's really cool. So what around what year was that? How long ago was that?
That's 2016.
Okay. So yeah, so for 3 years now, so that's almost half of StarCraft 2's life you've been writing about it. Wait, it's not, it's okay, 2 years. Sorry, I'm thinking it's 2019. I live in the future, I'm just saying. No worries. It's doing math on stream is hard, even if it's not really you running the stream or actual math.
Doing math is hard. Just put a cap on it there. Doing math is just hard. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is especially whenever you're just trying to figure out what year it currently is. Yeah, so that's awesome, man. That's a really cool story. So thank you. So what's the most do you have an article that you are most proud of?
Yeah, so like I remember you asking this, and I did think about it. I thought about it for a while, and I tried to think of something I could send you. I guess the answer is not really, because I never want to release something that I'm not proud of. So I'm kind of like a baseline level of proud of all of the things that I've released in terms of written work and YouTube work too. But some of the YouTube stuff is just like shit posting. So, but in terms of written work, when I'm getting paid to do something like that, I always, I never want to release anything. I never want to try and sell a piece of content that I'm not proud in, because then it's just not worth it. It's not worth it for the consumers. It's not worth it for the readers. It's not worth it for me. Most proud of is like a really tough one. I have a soft spot for a piece that I did on the Good Game Agency, which I don't know if people will remember at all. GGA, they were the parent company to Evil Geniuses, and they got bought out by Amazon or Twitch. I can't even remember. And Alex Garfield ended up stepping down in like the summer of 2016, and it was like the same era as I was just first starting to do the writing stuff. And I did a bunch of investigation stuff, and I ended up finding out some things before it was really public, because you can learn so much stuff by just exploring people's Twitter feeds, like just looking at what is public and knowing where to look. You can find out a lot of stuff. And I know that there was and there is a big story there that I just am not tapping into. So I was just proud of that. I think like some of the investigative stuff that I was able to bring to light, like there was I wrote a news post about how there was an Overwatch summit back in 2016 with their big meme teamers, in the same vein as what we have with StarCraft 2. Usually, I mean, we don't know, I guess, but I did one for Dota. I think like the investigative stuff, because it's so high pressure. That's the stuff that I'm most proud of, just for riding the storm. Not even for the quality of work, just for riding that storm and being okay at the end of the day. Like when those articles are released, and you get backlash from fans sometimes too. Like, yeah, I think maybe those ones, but I don't know. It's a tough question. It is.
But that actually, I mean, you answered it pretty well. I mean, while I was kind of hoping for a specific, you did give enough of a specific, so that's you nailed it.
I just want to show good interviews for the fans.
Yeah. So that actually brings me. That's the perfect segue. So, have you had like an article that did have like stood out with how much backlash you got from it? Like Reddit was just like they hated you for at least 20 minutes.
Yeah. So it's actually my biggest piece of like news was I released an article talking about how PPD, who is this is all Dota stuff. Pre-warning, okay? Pre-warning. Yeah, PPD was stepping down and stepping away from Evil Geniuses, and we released that article, and people just straight up just didn't believe it in Dota, because I'm not a name that's known in Dota at all. So people, I don't know if it would have made a difference, but PPD and EG are like synonymous, and he was the CEO of the company at the time too. So people just were incredulous. They just like, this isn't a real thing. This is fake news. I actually had people like adding me on Twitter and in my DMs on Reddit and stuff like that. Like, this is fake news. You're a joke. You're not a journalist. You're not a writer. You are trash. Fake news media. Unironically so, right?
Right.
That's some scary shit when the press release isn't out there yet, like that's those scary hours of the night where you are thinking like, oh my God, what if I was fed something wrong? Like, what if this is actually going to turn out to be fake news? That might just end everything that I've been building. That might end the career that I'm trying to build for myself. Like, and obviously, like, you don't release something that is of that magnitude when you're not confident in it. You just don't, right? It doesn't happen. You can't do that. But I'm a very anxious person, and I'm a very paranoid person. So when I was faced with as much of that as I was, like it had the heartbeat going. And I remember I was actually out with a friend, just driving around in like the wee hours in the morning, and I was just continually checking my phone, just to see, and it finally got announced. Like, I think this was like 2 days after, and I checked my phone. It was announced. I was like, okay, and I let out a big breath. But then the Dota community, like, nobody even acknowledged that this had been a news story already. The Dota community was just like, oh man, this is so new and shocking. I can't believe that this is a thing, this new information that we're being faced with. Unbelievable. And like, not that I would expect it 100%, but a little bit. Like, I just wanted somebody to come back and be like, man, good on you for getting that in the first place, or something, right. Like anyone. And it just didn't happen. So that's just the nature of the beast there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that. Oh, hey, Proxy Tempest with the host. Thanks, dudes. Andy Man, I love you. You can always come and say hi to me and Andy Man and Mitosis Gaming. Shameless self promotion. I'll give you guys a Discord in a little bit. Anyway, so welcome to Dark Shrine, Dank Shrine. I do that every time. Dark Shrine. Welcome to Dank Shrine, guys. I'm Duddles. I'm getting fired again today.
The chat. I love it.
Andy Man, thank you so much again. Hope Kidnot is here as well. You guys are great. Y'all had a great tournament. I hope it turned out well. I wasn't able to catch the end, but there's some really good games. Anyway, back to the topic. Where were we? I think you're talking about the backlash in the Dota 2 article. So I bet the people who messaged you all that crap, like fake news, whenever they heard it, like, just think about how dumb they felt. And how great it is that they're just like such hostile, negative, toxic people, and then they're like, "Oops, like maybe I shouldn't do that." I know that they didn't actually learn that lesson. Kind of person who would do that probably wouldn't, but
yeah, I would genuinely love to sit here and believe that and just share that good vibe between each other. But I don't believe that those kind of people are the type that do those things. So big rip, big press F for the world. But I don't know. It's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Right.
It's whatever. I didn't release something that was like blatantly wrong and people hated me for it. I didn't release something that was like super unpopular opinion that got me a ton of hate or anything like that. So in all things considered, it's kind of the best way to be hated. You know, like you're hated because you're right. Fuck you for being right.
Right. Hey, it happens. I'm right all the time. Like my wife hates me because I'm right all the time. It's really hard to do that. Just kidding. I'm never right with her.
You know, I've heard that. I've heard that all the way up here. Duddles is right all the time. People hate him. I've heard it.
Well, mostly the second part. So it's the thing is nobody knows who I am, but when they do, they don't like me. Yeah, if you got winners, you're hating. Even like the okay. So one of the most, if not the most famous Portuguese streamers and casters is in here. Saying, who's this dude interviewing Cyan? He's on my team. He plays for my team. Yeah.
Shoutouts for knowing who I am, though. Much love. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Actually, so I usually wouldn't want to bring fan-made questions or fan questions in just in the middle of the interview spontaneously. But Maku, who is a Wardy mod and friend of mine, asks, "What do you actually know about Duddles?"
Oh man, like specifically, almost nothing. Holy fuck! I know that you're a name that I recognize from StarCraft Twitter, and I know that you've. I think you had another sprint of content production. Did you have a tournament or something like that? I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know you like Propagandhi, and I respect that.
Hey, dude, that's pretty like the two best things that came from Canada is pretty much Cyan and Propagandhi. That's it. Those are the.
I know what.
Unfortunately, those are the only two things. Everything else kind of sucks.
Okay.
Rush,
yeah, come on, Rush in the chat. We've got Cancer Bats. We got Alexis. Fuck, dude. We've got so many good bands.
Oh, no, Rush is really good. Yeah, this band called the Flatliners. If you haven't heard them, they're pretty. If you like punk rock, they're really good too. I heard Nickelback's really popular. Avril Lavigne, Sum 41, you know.
Okay, well, like, Sum 41, hold the fucking phone, okay? They are fantastic.
I've seen them live. They weren't bad. It's just they just kind of like became like a meme a little bit, you know. But I like Sum 41. There's nothing wrong with them. All right, enough of the memes. We'll get to the memes more. Did you look at this photograph though? Dude, Andy Man even dropping. Duddles is just some hot girl on Twitter. Like, yeah, that's.
These memes.
All right. Okay, so back to you. So what people actually know you for the most is probably your interviews. You said did the piece that you wrote was on Kelazur. Did you actually interview him on YouTube or anything, or was that
no?
Was it strictly written?
Yeah. If I do a written interview, then there's no like video part to that, right? Like it's just release either written or video like that. Yeah.
Right. So who was your first interview that you did that like big name?
Kelazur, 100%. Yeah. So I think it was Kelazur. I think that's the timeline. I'm fairly confident. Yeah, it would have had to been. So I leapt into that gig by being like an up and coming face in StarCraft. I don't mean to go too far back. I had a video that got kind of popular at like the tail end of 2015. There was like some drama going on in StarCraft because the WCS region lock changes had come in, and there was an episode of Unfiltered where Richard Lewis and Thorne went on with no opposition at all and literally just spent like an hour shitting on StarCraft and everything that was trying to be done with WCS. And I really took offense to that, like absolutely, because they said so many things that were just either bullying, flat wrong, flat lies, something like that. So I made a 40-minute video like trying to point by point counter what they were saying. And then Katz saw that video. Katz reached out to me. He was like, I like this video. Do you want to do some stuff that would be hosted on Root Gaming's website? And I was like, can I swear?
Yes.
Fuck yeah, I was like that. So I was like kind of somebody who some people were starting to recognize. And that's how I got the Kelazur situation thing on the go. And then my first video interview was with Zombie Grub, actually, in August of that year. Yeah. And that was complete luck. It was Rifkin had unfortunately like broken his leg or something like that in some kind of a bike accident, I think.
It was a Rifkin drop, right? That's if that's a base trade meme. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I'm not up to date on my base trade memes at all. Oh man, I'm ashamed to say that right now because you just base trade memed all over me and I didn't get it. That's shameful. I feel bad now.
I think you're okay.
No, it's not. It's not fine. Don't let me have it. Anyways, yeah, Rifkin had gotten in an unfortunate accident. Was going to be laid up for a while. And it was like the day that I had messaged too. I hit Zombie Girl up and I was like, hey, can I interview you? And she was like, fuck, I don't know. We're really busy. And I was like, no worries. Literally, I'll bend to whatever schedule you want me to. And then that happened. And I messaged and I was like, oh shit. Obviously, this just became impossible. Like, you're going to have to do like a lot more to cover, I guess. And yeah, just literally whenever, months from now, it's fine. But she hit me up and she's like, oh, this is actually really convenient because with this happening, Rifkin's out of commission and we have to like totally rehaul the whole schedule. So if you wanted to do it like this week, that'd be fine. I was like, yeah, whatever works. Like literally whatever works, I'll do it, you know? And that was my very first video interview.
Cool. What was do you have a favorite interview you did? I know I already know how you're going to answer this, but if you were to pick one, because you want to know how I. Well, no, I don't think you're going to pick a favorite. I think that you're going to say like, there's so many good ones. I don't want to play favorites. I just have these people are so great. I love the StarCraft community. I'm the nicest freaking guy in the world. I am Canadian after all.
Fuck you.
I'm kidding. But if you were to pick one,
so like. Well, you did the PC, like, here's my politically correct answer that I will obviously give. And it's true, too. Like, I am proud of all of my video interviews, and I loved doing all of my video interviews and my text interviews, too. But in a list of, like, favorites, I got to pick, like, 3 at least. Smix was such a joy to interview and to talk to because Smix is, like, my esports idol. If there's anyone whose path I want to replicate and who I look up to in esports, it is Smix. And it's like never meet your heroes kind of thing. That's just not true for esports, I think. So Smix was a big one. Rotterdam was a huge one too, because it's like kind of the same thing. Rotterdam has been my favorite caster forever, and he is just such a good dude. It was so fun talking to him. And then I'd say probably Mr. Bitter, because Mr. Bitter was hardcore on my bucket list of people who I would just never get, but if I could, oh man, that would be so great. And then it happened, so. And it was so good, too. Mr. Bitter, all these guys, man, everyone that you talk to is usually so nice. It's just great.
Yeah. Except for me, I'm sure, but everybody else is great. I am from Texas, so it's okay. I just have to live up to the reputation. No, that's awesome. I really want to watch your Rotterdam interview. I haven't seen that one. That is on my agenda for the week. I will be looking that up. Did you have an interview that just went super poorly or like it just either it was super awkward or like they were kind of a dick or something? Like, you don't have to like say their name, even though I'd really want you to.
No, I don't think I can tell that story.
That's okay.
They have to secret memes it. Generally speaking, for StarCraft, I just don't think so. I don't think that's a thing for StarCraft. But I have interviewed people outside of StarCraft, and I've done content outside of StarCraft too. And there's a person that I think of. They weren't even awkward. They weren't even giving bad answers or anything like that. It wasn't even a horrible experience. But they had such terrible breath. It was so bad. Like, I was there. It was like a 20-minute interview or whatever, face to face, and it was just awful. All I could think of the whole time was just, oh my God, like, do you have access to Colgate? Like, can I help you? Can I buy it for you? I will do that for you. Right. It was dankness, yeah.
Oh man. That's one thing. It's like whenever if you have mints, you have to like put it in you have to get one.
Oh yeah, you gotta
be like, yeah, I really want this mint for no reason. Hey, do you want one? And then they're always gonna be like, oh no, thank you though, I really appreciate it. And you're like, God damn it.
It's a really good mint. Trust.
Yeah, no, this isn't a regular Altoid. This is a super Altoid. Oh man, that's hilarious. That is not even close to the kind of answer I was expecting. That's great.
I'm glad to try.
So yeah, do you actually who is your next interview? Who would you be willing to spill the beans on this show of like who your next plan is?
If there was a plan, I would be willing to spill the beans, absolutely. Because normally, if there's a plan, then I usually spill the beans right away as soon as the plan is set. But unfortunately, there is no plan as of right now. To be totally honest, I don't know if I'm going to be focusing a lot on the StarCraft interviews for a little while. I think what I'd like to do is try and interview some people from different games in that like really hardcore formal interview setting. I don't have anyone in mind. Well, I have people in mind, but I haven't reached out to anybody yet. I'm trying to kind of figure things out, you know, like Toast can preach to this as well. But when you're like our level, trying to come up, trying to find what works, trying to get in there, you got to try like a whole bunch of different stuff. You got to spend a lot of time like theory crafting and trying to figure out what works and trying to get everything sorted. And there are people who I would like to interview, but who have maybe been interviewed too close, and I've got that 6-month rule. There are people who I would love to interview, and I've had like some exchanged emails to express some interest, and it's just never been penciled in. But right now, there's nothing super concrete. Who knows what the future can hold?
Right. If there's anybody out there that like, if you could just have interview anybody right now, and they, no matter what, they'd say yes and give you like 3 hours of just unbelievable content, who would it be?
It might be. I mean, if they're going to answer all of my questions that I ask, I'd love to interview Alex Garfield. And this goes back to the Good Game Agency that I was referencing earlier, because that man did a lot for esports in the early days. And when I entered into esports as a fan, as a viewer, EG was the team leading the charge. As much as some developers were, as much as Blizzard, as much as Riot sometimes, EG was on the forefront, pushing the envelope and trying to push for that mainstream success, and he just disappeared. It's just so unfortunate, and I'd love to hear that story. In StarCraft, if I had 3 hours, I'd love to get like a round table on the go with like, I'd love to see like, that's such a hard question because I'd love to do Apollo, I'd love to do Tasteless. I don't know if it would work in a round table setting though. I don't know.
Tasteless is hard to get, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's hard to get, right? Like everyone who you would think is inaccessible, it's not so much that they're inaccessible, it's just that it's really hard to respond to emails all the time, and it's really hard to like schedule something and everything like that. Kalars, Calebx in the chat just said Kalars. I'd love to interview Kalars, right? And I've talked to Kalars about doing an interview, and he's open to it. But Kalars is a busy guy, you know. He's got pub now, he's got Heroes, he just moved. Like there are interviews that I'm sure will happen in the future, but I would love to get that like guaranteed, like, oh yeah, this is your act of God interview that you have just guaranteed to you. Yeah.
Caloris, it's really sad. Sort of kind of dampen the mood of the stream a little bit. His grandfather just passed away, and he wrote a really sweet tweet about it. Yeah. It's actually, I mean, like I know it's sad. It is sad, but it was actually like a beautiful tweet. I feel so. Yeah, it was pretty sad. Anyway, back
he's such a nice guy, man. He's such a nice
great
guy.
I really like that guy. I've never personally talked to him, but I would love to set up a situation to where I could at least hear him say, who the hell is Duddles? That would be great. So why was StarCraft 2 like your central focus for a while? Like what got you into StarCraft 2 so adamantly? I know you do other games, and I'm not even saying you do StarCraft 2 the most. I think that could be actually
100%. Yeah, I
think you even said that earlier. But so why this game?
Just to be totally clear, I'm not going to remove StarCraft 2 as my main focus right now. Just for the formal interviews, that's literally it. That's like the only thing I think I would be considering changing up for a couple of months. That's just to be clear. I don't know, man. StarCraft is just the best game. StarCraft 2 is the best esport. And like when I was a kid, like my first video game was Age of Empires. And I'd play it with my dad, and I played like Caesar and Age and games like that. Because I was a big history buff, he's a big history buff. It was just the best. So I guess I kind of grew up with RTS like in my brain. And my very first introduction to esports was StarCraft 2. So, and that was during 2012 too. So that was at like the peak momentum StarCraft 2, and I love that feeling of being involved in something really important and really special, like something that is about to become huge. I love feeling involved in that. I'm a hipster like that. And yeah, it just is the best game. Like, it's not CS, it's not League, it's not Dota, it's not Hearthstone. StarCraft 2 is the best esport.
Yes.
That's it to me.
Absolutely.
When is the anime viewing? Turisky, get out of this chat right now. Ban Turisky.
It's actually so Fresh asked, would you ever interview controversial figures from the StarCraft 2 community, which I know you have.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was actually, I think, the first interview I ever watched of yours was I'm not gonna say his name, but it rhymes with Schmusvillo.
I mean, you can we not?
No, you can say Avilo. I don't care.
Okay, all right.
Is it Avilo or Avilo?
He says Avilo.
Avilo.
So it's like a proper noun, so it's Avilo. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Avilo then. Right on. Yeah, so actually that interview was actually pretty good. I liked it. You know, like, it wasn't, you asked questions that I feel like I would have been uncomfortable just straight up asking him too. Because I think you started off, you're like, I'm with the bad guy of StarCraft, you know, like what?
Oh no, he knows his image, right? And I mean, like, going into that interview, right? It was in a particularly controversial time for him because it was just after the WCS Austin stuff with the crowdfunding, and everybody's really upset. But whenever I do an interview with any big memer, I feel like I'm obligated to ask some questions, and I say that too. I'm obligated to ask this. I think that's how I framed it for this particular situation. I was like, I would be remiss to not ask this, and you know, like, as the interviewer, no matter what my thoughts are on the person, no matter what my thoughts are on any given situation or opinion that they're offering, it's not about what I think, right? It's about what they have to say, and then the viewer has to interpret that for themselves. It's not my job to color that any way in particular, right? So that's kind of what I try to do. I try to walk a line and phrase things in a way that it's not offensive or anything to the controversial guest. Yeah, I think that there's a line. Like, there's a line that I wouldn't go over in terms of controversy. That I've talked to death with Fear Dragon. Actually, we've talked about this all the time, and that line is kind of ever evolving because it's tough to put that line in the sand. You know, it is hard. There's so much gray area. But yeah.
It really depends on who you're interviewing too. Like, I mean, with you, I feel like
that's really what I mean, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah, 'cause I would definitely be more comfortable kind of pushing the envelope because I think that you understand that I'm either A, have good intentions, or B, am messing with you and being funny or something else. But like, there's nothing I can really, I can't even think of anything to do. But like, I don't even know where the line is, like, to cross, you know, but because I don't even know.
I think, like, for me, the line is if somebody did something that I found like absolutely morally abhorrent, like really bad, that I just could not come to grips with, or if I felt that the end result product of content, the interview itself, would damage the scene. If I feel like what I am doing is going to negatively affect StarCraft 2 esports and affect that scene in a negative way, then I don't want to produce that content.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's why you're the hero we deserve, or the hero we need, but we don't deserve. So let's check this itinerary. Actually, Andy Man asked a really, really hard-hitting question. Why a flat bill instead of a shaped one? Like your hat.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like a duck meme. I was like, I don't know.
You really need to watch Base Trade, man. Like, you're missing out all the duck memes.
Apparently, look, when I watch StarCraft, I just put it on in the background, right? And I'll be like, I'll review the VODs and stuff for the important things, but for being like outed as a fake Base Trade fan, I literally subbed to them today. Holy shit, dude! I spent my Prime sub on them.
Do you know what Rivkata is? Rivkat.
Yes. That one's like a new one. That one doesn't count. That's like a brand new one.
Hey, that's mine. It counts. I'm allowed to contribute.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't count, but it's like it's too new to not know about because it's unclear and stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Let's actually going back to my itinerary. It's like I want to make sure. Like, let me just get the rest of this StarCraft 2 stuff out of the way, and because I want to talk about some of the other projects you have going on, some of the other games that you do, and I have some more big picture questions that I'm really excited to hear your answers. So, what is actually your favorite part of being a gaming community leader in like StarCraft, and why is it the great anime recommendations?
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. That was like a surprise too. It was like halfway through, I was like, oh man, you called me a leader in the gaming community. That'll swell my ego right up. And then you just shot it right out of the sky right away. You just took the block out and bang.
No, but the first part of the question, really, what's your favorite part about it? Like having the community, having your own Discord, having the Twitter followers, and having that.
I don't really think that I'm a leader in the community yet, per se. I guess I am. Like, I was watching a stream the other day, and it was like a bunch of philosophy stuff, and it was like, man, if you're an influencer with like 10 people watching your stuff, then go influence those 10 people. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. But I mean, like, it was hard for me to wrap my head around even having like fans, and it still is, like I do, I guess, but do I? You know what I mean? I remember releasing a video too way back, and I was like talking about the state of the channel kind of thing, one of those addresses. And I was like, can I refer to you guys as my fans, my viewers? Are you fans? I don't really know. I don't think that you are. And people were like getting mad in the comment section too, like, shut up, we're your fans, just stop it, stop talking about this, stop it, leave it alone. But yeah, I mean, I think having that Discord, man, that Discord like gives me life. It's just so cool to have a chat room where people are linked through knowing me and liking my content enough to be in the chat room. And then they just like, I log in every day and there's some new post. It's died down a little bit recently because I'm not there as much, which is my own fault. But yeah, that's like super cool. And the Twitter, I love my Twitter too. I love my Twitter feed. I love all my Twitter followers. I always notice if you're somebody that pops up all the time in my mentions and my notes, I will see you. I've creeped your profile. I know who you are. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little ego stroke. Feels good, man.
Yeah, right on. Have you ever done any casting or anything like?
A very, very little bit. I'm not a caster, but if you go to my YouTube channel, I cast like every now and again on stream, just because I find that casting is more in line with a good Cyan stream than Cyan laddering. It's more conversation, But yeah, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see a playlist for casts. That's literally just when they changed the code of the game to make all the old replays defunct. I really didn't like that. I hate that. I'm like a StarCraft history buff, esports history buff, so I didn't want to lose that history. So I went to rCastit, which is the subreddit where people go and ask for their games to be cast, and I downloaded all of the ones that hadn't been cast yet, and I just cast them like that day. I think I was still when I was living in another city too. That was a long ass time ago, and they're not good. They're not good. Don't go. But it's not, like having your games cast is like so cool, and I didn't want those people to not have that before it was too late.
Yeah, I think that's really great. There's a lot of people out there. You actually introduced me to a guy named Glazerbeam. Cause you gave him a shout out on stream. And so I was like, okay, yeah. Like none of my other StarCraft players were on that day and the next day. And I was like, I saw Glazerbeam was there and I was like, Cyan said really nice things about this guy. So I went and checked him out, and I really like how he does it, because it's like he'll kind of have a designated part in his streams. He streams every day. This guy streams, and he'll stream all day.
Big respect.
And he just hit Masters 1, by the way. That's really cool. Good for him. Because I felt like he was like Diamond 1 like 2 weeks ago or something. I don't know.
Same. Makes me so sad.
Right. He flew. But I mean, the guy puts a lot of effort into his game. It's really genuinely super nice guy too. But he does he has fan games that he casts. And you can tell he's not like a professional caster. It's not like having Maynard, hopping in and hype casting over it. But he gives like some advice, and he enjoys it, and like the community's all there watching it. And it's really neat. Like, and I know that a lot of these people who it's not like, GMs sending their replays in. It's like people who are like Plat 1, Plat 2 or something. And they're like, the games are kind of dopey, but it's like, hey, this one was funny. And so he watches it and he's all like, hey, I really like this play style. This is a lot of fun. And like everybody gets to watch it as a community. And I think that's great. And absolutely. I don't know. I think that's beautiful. So Andy Man also does that all the way, and I just want to give him a shout out too, because he has a replay happy hour that's a Mitosis Gaming production, and he knocks it out of the park. Where it's literally, we have a Discord channel where you just go and submit your replay. He casts it, and the difference is I think Andy Man is kind of a hype caster, because he does Proxy Tempest and some other things too. And it like literally we don't care. People send us like games where they were practicing with a teammate, and we'll still like make it fun. Enough of that. I don't mean to plug myself or Andy Man in the middle of this. I just wanted to, conversation has kind of got there.
Hey man.
Did you ever? So have you? How much do you know about like the amateur league scene in StarCraft?
Not very much. almost nothing, I guess you could say. I know SCV Rush, and I know Proxy Tempest, and I guess that's really about it. I've never really participated, honestly. I like watching Proxy Tempest from time to time. And there used to be ESL Cups that actually Element was running for a little while, and I used to participate in some of the BSGs, but not too much at all, honestly.
So I think that, this is just me, but I think someone like you who has a bit of a name in StarCraft expressing some attention on something like Chobo Team League or I think like the Psystorm Gaming just had their first season of the PGTL, where it's like, these skilled tournaments where you can't, if you're above Masters 2, you can't compete. It is like literally intentionally aimed for amateurs. Like what CTL doesn't really need that much help because Pig casts the finals every season. Pig and Maynard, and that's really cool. Junior Star League, right? They actually had in their first season, they had a circuit called the Duddle Circuit because I was the first person to promote out of Platinum and the JSL. So they named, it's an honorary first person to be disqualified from the tournament because he promoted. They named the circuit after me, and everybody thought that I was running it, and I wasn't, and I got a lot of crap for it. Because I kind of was running it a little bit, but it was like, I don't know, Volticus ended up taking it over, and I got so much crap from that. But I think having...
Andy Man in the chat, sorry to interrupt, don't forget the Cranky Ducklings. I can't forget the Cranky Ducklings. Cranky Ducklings are amazing for StarCraft 2. I just want to put that in. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Dude, seriously, like Light VIP and Kuro, they're the two that come. Obviously, and then you have like Phoenix Tears and
Yaku and I don't remember all the names right now, but yeah, they're just incredible for the scene. They are so good.
They're definitely on my list of interviews because they fit the bill so much for what this show is supposed to be. I obviously have some more popular people first. Like I want to get some publicity to the show first by some bigger names. But
what am I doing here then? Oh my god!
People know who you are. Get over it. Get over it. Okay. No, but you're kind of still kind of like, people know who you are, but people don't know a lot about you. That's why I'm really happy to give you the opportunity to get an interview.
I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you. So you already answered this in another question. This itinerary is so professional. It's
don't you like low key hate that? This is the only time I'll ever say this. Okay, whenever this happens in one of my interviews, I'm always like, you're giving such good in-depth answers. I just have to strike this one from my list. Oh, you're doing such a good job as a guest. I hate it. You destroyed my work right before my very eyes. This is the only time I'll ever see that.
Exactly. I have these questions, and I'm like, this is going to be like 2 hours of the content. And you knock out 5 of them in like one sentence.
Absolutely,
like, okay. I meant 5 minutes of content. All right. Oh man. Okay, so I want to get into a hot spot here. So I heard you talking about this in one of your streams, one of your chill chats. So the region locking in WCS with what I'm calling the EU problem. Fear Dragon talked about it a lot. I heard you talk about it. I've heard some really interesting opinions. Are you willing to kind of go down the road of like what can you help me define to people who may not know what the problem actually is, and maybe suggest some potential solutions to it? We don't have to go
problem specifically.
Yeah, because they're the only people who seem to be really upset about it.
Yeah. So we're in a state right now for StarCraft 2 where, for the first time in a long time, we're going to be in a state of flux. It's going to happen because the WCS format that we have right now is not we don't really know what's happening with it, where for the last 2 years, it was announced in 2016 as the 2017-2018 format. Like the 2 years were going to look very similar to each other. And it's like, okay, cool. This is stability. This is good. And stability is really good for the scene because it's good for the teams that sponsor the players. It lets them know what the hell is going on. And if it's a good system for the players, then it's great for the players too. And it's really good for the fans because they understand, they learn what the system is, and they know what to watch, when to watch, and where to watch. And it's just good. Stability, good. But right now, we might be doing some changes and stuff, which is room for people to bring up their concerns with Challenger, because Challenger for Europe is maybe a little bit unbalanced. And I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. Not 100%, but Europe is a harder scene. It just is. It flat just is. Europe is the hardest region outside of Korea for StarCraft 2. And a lot of the European pros are unhappy with the way the Challenger for Europe is kind of just the same as Challenger for everywhere else. It feels like if you're like a pretty good like lower end of the top end of Europe, it probably feels pretty bad for you to be facing down Serral in like round 1 of your bracket, and that is what it is, and you have to kind of just deal with that. You have to eat that. Mm-hmm. And then it affects like the rest of your year up until the next Challenger maybe. Whereas in some of these other regions, the competition is just so much less stiff. People just kind of have like an easier time, right? So there's an argument to inject more money into WCS Challenger Europe, maybe more spots. I don't know. Like I'm not totally up to date with all the arguments or plans people are putting forward. I think for me, although I definitely can sympathize. I can't really empathize, but I can sympathize with the European pros in their situation because it is just a hard region. It's so hard there compared to everywhere else outside of Korea. I also kind of think that for the casual viewer, maybe it's best to just leave it alone. Because I think right now where Challenger is, it's come to a place where people understand what's happening. The studio broadcasts are great. It's just easy for casual viewers who maybe only come in for just Challenger. They don't read the forums. They don't read the news. They get what it is right now, I think. And I think, like I was saying, that stability is really good. And if you kilter that anyway and make it something new, you have to make sure that it's very easy for people to understand, just to keep that player base and that viewer base like, oh, I know what this is, and this is easy for me to consume. And I think that some of the plans being put forward really, really just don't have that in mind, which is too bad. It's such a tough situation, right? Like, it's so hard. And I don't really know how I feel. I think that there's a good reason, that there's a lot of good... Listen, this is such a terrible question to ask me because I could literally sit here, I could talk about this for like another hour. There's multiple arguments for and against changing the way that things are done right now. And that's before you even touch the idea of like, what is region lock and should it be over? Like, this is such a huge topic of conversation that is really hard to do justice in such a small period of time. And I'm sorry for rambling about it, but yeah.
No. That's why I asked, because I know you, because you are knowledgeable and you have an opinion about it. So I wanted to hear it. So I it really does suck, just to add on to it a little bit. Whenever somebody like, I'm just going to use Optimus as an example. Optimus could and should be, I think, like a round of 16 player, but he has the absolute worst luck with who he gets seeded with. Like he might not even get out of group stage because he'll have like Serral and like Neeb and like somebody, like he'll just get like every single time he has a group stage, it is always one of the hardest ones. And so while he, if in any other group, could probably make it to round of 16, like round of 8 maybe, if he has like some good games, you'll just never see him there because he has shit luck, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And people may disagree and say, well, he's just not like the caliber player or whatever. But I mean, I watch his games. He has some. He can be a little streaky, but he's good, And
yeah.
and he I think is one of the best examples of someone of like, well, if he could get if he could get into the NA scene or something, like he would be so successful here because he wouldn't have the same group luck, because he wouldn't be like, okay, I have nothing but like this power Zergs of Europe in my group,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really is a tricky situation and how to solve it, because really, and I really like what you're saying about the casual fan and their understanding, because it took me a while to understand like what the hell was going on with the format. But after one watch through, I was like, oh. So then the next time WCS popped up, I was like, I know exactly which channel to go to for during the group stages. And then I was like, okay, now it's live time. I'm gonna hop over to the actual StarCraft stream, and I know like where the brackets are located. I know what to Google for. Stuff like that. But really, I think the changes that people want to get made in the community it's more for the players.
Yeah. I think too that maybe when I worry about the stability affecting the casual viewers, maybe it's not even an issue too, right? Because they've improved the coverage of Challenger so much this year, and I'm biased when I say that. Outright, I am, because I am part of that. I am part of that coverage stuff, right? Like as a freelancer. But I think that it's just infinitely better than it was the year before. Like 2017 Challenger is something that I, as a viewer, really like. And maybe if that kind of coverage and that caliber of coverage continues, changing it up a little bit, making things just different, maybe it won't be that bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. So this actually kind of was covered already, but so how do you feel about the current state of StarCraft 2 and like where do you see the future of the scene going? And actually no, all this is pretty much nailed already. Because honestly, because that was all aimed for viewer participation, and I think you already nailed that one. So that's good. I kind of asked the same question twice in a different way, so that's okay. That's on me.
It's a big topic, right? Like where the scene is headed and what the format should be for WCS, and you know, like I think that what is really important for everybody to kind of just get on board with. StarCraft 2 esports isn't going anywhere. Like Blizzard's really dedicated to this, and the fans are really dedicated to this. And Blizzard's dedicated because they love the game, but also because the fans are dedicated. You know, and it's like this mutualistic relationship where they both feed off of each other, right? Like the fans aren't going anywhere, Blizzard isn't going anywhere. So let's nail this down. Let's figure out a system that really, really works for another 2 years, right? And things will just continue to be good. Because right now I feel like it's really good. I personally feel like it's really good. My only complaint as a, you know, single party person who's not competing, I just wish there was just more WCS circuit events. And that's such a good problem to have, you know? Like that's such a good problem. So, right. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Oh, man, I just had a fantastic question, and it's gone. I need to stop paying attention to you so well.
Facts. Everyone does.
Right. Well, I'm sure it'll come back to me. So so more of a broader spectrum. Let's say, okay, actually, no. I know what my point was. Good. So just to add to your point, Blizzard has 2 games that aren't multi-platform, and they're also 2 of their most successful games ever when it comes to that could be subjective, but you know, like Overwatch is on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, it's on PC. I have friends who are like, "Oh, dude, you play Overwatch, right? Like, do you want to play with me?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'd love to. I didn't know you had a computer." And they're like, "No, I play on PlayStation." I'm like, "I forgot." Diablo 3, like that was a huge one. I think that was their first big release on PlayStation before. Did that happen before Overwatch? I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was D3 was on like 360 and PS3, so that was like a real long time ago now.
Okay. But you know, and it's obvious that the way that Blizzard is going is they have infiltrated the console gaming scene, even though they were like, I think they started as kind of a console thing. They went to PC because Warcraft was so popular. Then now they're able to go back to console, and that's why I've read some articles, heard some YouTube video things that I've seen, documentaries, whatever, or just you know, journalism on the internet by people who blatantly don't play StarCraft. But they say the reason why we're not going to get a Warcraft 4 or StarCraft 3 in any time in the soon future is the biggest reason is because Blizzard is looking to be a multi-platform company, and RTS games don't go on there. I kind of disagree with that, but really, why would they do that whenever they can keep on putting out war chests and making money from it, and keep on coming out with the, you know, World of Warcraft expansions every other month? Mm-hmm. But, you know, and so that I feel like it's like, well, you don't understand the drive and the need for RTS scene. In my opinion, it's because StarCraft 2 is still doing so well. They don't have a need to make a new one just yet. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the multi-platform thing is just like hot garbage. Like, I don't think anybody saying that really knows what they're talking about, because they're never, like, Blizzard's WoW is a generational game, you know? Like, I'm just playing WoW for my first time ever right now, solely because literally everybody around me seems to be talking about WoW. And that's crazy, you know? Like, WoW, they will never stop making WoW. So that's cool, and it's never going to be on console. That's just a fact of life. Right. And same thing for RTS too, but it's not impossible to put an RTS on console. I actually used to play Supreme Commander on Xbox 360. It sucked. It was terrible, but it was there. N64, StarCraft N64, right? Like, a port could be possible is what I'm saying, but like, it's not relevant, you know? Like, they're not going to not make a game that they want to make because it can't go on console. Like, if Blizzard wants to make a game, Blizzard is very passionate about what they do. that's something that I really, really got last year when I was down for the StarCraft 2 Summit. They love what they do, and I love that they love what they do. They're so cool about everything that they do. I think that when they port a game to console, they just want more people to play it. But whether or not like a new RTS could exist, yeah, I think that the main thing that would make that happen is that StarCraft 2 is like finished with expansions now, and WoW will keep having expansions, right? So if there's like, oh man, these graphics look really dated, and we need to like put in something new for people to keep playing and make it up to date for 20XX. They can just release expansion, but they can't really do that so much with StarCraft. And people do want Warcraft 4. They actively want it, and they do want the War 3 remaster. People actively crave these things. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, like RTS is smaller than it is, but that doesn't mean there's not a market. And Blizzard has a corner on that market, and
they own it.
Absolutely, you know? Yeah. No, they'll put something else out at some point, but who knows when it is, right? That could be years from now. It could be tomorrow. It could be who knows.
Well, I know a lot of people are afraid of something going on because, you know, Blizzard, there's people out there who I think just like press refresh on the job openings boards of Blizzard just because they want to know, they want to be in front of what the next game is.
Yep.
And I'm sure you covered it, but whenever they came out with like, they were hiring game developers, programmers for a mobile MMO RTS is what it was aimed at. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of in line with that sentiment, but I'm also kind of not. Like, I just don't care about Hearthstone. I didn't care about WoW at all, and maybe I still don't. Mm-hmm. I don't care about Heroes of the Storm, really. Like these are games that I just don't pay attention to. I recognize that there are people that do, and that they have fun with it, and they like it and everything like that, and I'm not ruling out the possibility that maybe I fall in love with all of those games tomorrow. But for me, StarCraft and Overwatch are like my Blizzard babies, and I love them. And as long as they keep doing that, I don't really care. You know, like if they want to make a Clash of Clans type thing, I hope it's really fun, and I hope that I play it and I love it. And if I do, that's just solid gain and win for me. And if I don't, then I haven't lost anything either, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing ventured, nothing gained kind of mentality, I suppose.
You know, Andy Man actually said something. I was going to predict, you know, most people just have so much hate for mobile games, and mobile games are exactly what they are. They're to kill time while you're like taking a poop, you know, or something like that. Like, it's not like, I play Lords Mobile, and I take it too seriously, and I really like it. It's bad. It's a stupid
I too
game.
have watched Destiny stream, okay?
No, it's super stupid, but like we have a little like it's the Wardy community. Some of the members there are in it, and like so it's cool because we can like butt around on it and whatever. But I know what it is, and it's stupid. But imagine if Blizzard made one. You know, like it's gonna be way better than anything else on the market. It's gonna be more fun. Your poops are gonna be a little bit better. You know, and that's what it is. So yeah, just don't take it seriously, and you'll be fine. I think so. A lot of people who are like, whenever they found out they're like, because this sounds like if you took out the mobile part, people would be like, Warcraft 4. This is Warcraft 4. It's happening. And no, it's not. But if it is, it's going to be on mobile, and everybody's going to be pissed. And we just really hope they don't put that number on it. You know?
I feel like sometimes I feel like people are too quick to discount mobile games, and I'm 100% including myself in that. Like primarily me, if anything. Like Vainglory is actually like a really successful mobile MOBA that has some cool mechanics going on, apparently. And games like Hearthstone are literally just like ports from mobile to PC, you know? Like there are cool games for mobile. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem Heroes in the past like 6 months actually. I don't even like Fire Emblem. It's just like a little game you sit down and you're like, oh, tactics, wow. You know?
Yeah. I played that a little bit. I do like Fire Emblem, which is weird because I hate everything anime. And I don't like Final Fantasy. I know, crucify me right now. I know I don't like Final Fantasy.
No, absolutely, brother. that wasn't like a brother. No, that was a kindred spirit through the.
No, right? Yeah, I can't. And it's nothing against anime. I tried. I just it's just not for me. Which, by the way, that's the fastest way to get anime recommendations. Whenever you tell people you don't like anime, which is the life that you live. I've seen it. No, but yeah, it's whatever. I like. There's a couple animes that are pretty good. Dragon Ball Z was fine. But whatever. This is style. It's just not stylistically pleasing to me. And so whenever you have games that look like that, I typically don't like it. And Fire Emblem Story is super cheesy. It's really corny, hokey, campy, whatever. It is just it's a Final Fantasy knockoff, but I like it. The gameplay is fun because it's a really casual strategy game. It's like playing Stratego, but like live, and that's cool. But yeah, I actually checked out that mobile game. I deleted it because it took up too much space on my phone, and I just couldn't. I gave it a shot, and I was like, I bet this would be good. But
such is life.
But it's actually they took the anime look a little too far.
Actually, I don't hate the anime look all the time. Sometimes, but I don't have any real problem with the look. It's just mostly just the like anime tropey bullshit that happens. Like, I can't really describe what I mean, but you know what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean. It's terrible.
Right. All right. So back to video games that aren't mobile or anime related. So what with the esports scene in general, big picture thinking, I saw, I forget who posted it, but somewhere they were like rated like the most competitive or like the most successfully competitive esports right now. And like CSGO won like 2 or 3 years in a row, apparently in this thing. This year it was like PUBG, League of Legends, Dota, League of Legends, and like CSGO was on there, and I think Rainbow Six, the Siege or whatever. That those were on there. I think that Rocket League should be on there. Overwatch I think was on there, but Overwatch needs to be on there. And I'm like, why isn't StarCraft 2 on there? Because it's the only game of its kind, the kind of success that it has. It's really weird that PUBG, which is a game that doesn't really have it's hard to be like a professional PUBG player, versus like a Rocket player, which is totally.
What was the ranking? Is it ranking in terms of like competitiveness, or is it in terms of like competitive games that have earned the most money? Because if at that point, 100% PUBG, like all day long.
I don't think I'd be able to find the tweet because I didn't like comment on it or anything. I just read it.
If it's like in terms of just competitive value, then PUBG should not be on that list at all. Yeah,
and I think that's how I took it. I could be wrong. So if I found the tweet, I would just be like, oh, I'm stupid. But that's just how. I don't know. It bothered me, but it made me think like, what do you think? In the esports scene, like if you were to give a top 5 most competitive games that are relevant, what would you put on that list? It doesn't have to be in order.
StarCraft 2, 100%, obviously, and like by extension, StarCraft Brood War. I don't watch it. I don't really pay attention to that scene or anything like that. But I know that it is the same thing. Like probably, apparently more competitively valid or something like that. I don't really know. But like StarCraft, the franchise, easy. Quake, I am in love with Quake Champions right now, actually. It is so fun. And I used to kind of diss on it when it first came out. I was like, oh, it's not Quake Live, though. But no, Quake 100% needs to be on that list. And then after that, I'm not... the fighting games. Street Fighter 4 is so good. And actually, like, Street Fighter 5, I don't have enough knowledge to have the problems that a lot of the community has with it. But... like Street Fighter's on that list, BlazBlue's on that list, Guilty Gear's on that list.
Guilty Gear.
Yeah, like all those fighters, except for maybe like MVCI, just because it was so garbage. Yeah, I don't even think that I can fill out the rest of the 5 because, like, for me, I think when I think competitively valid or viable, I want no RNG and I want to be responsible for my wins and losses, which means no teammates because I solo queue all day, right? So like League and Rainbow and Dota and CS, they all have their place, 100%. But in terms of like a casual player who's not playing on a competitive team, I wouldn't put them on that list because it's so RNG. Some days you get good teammates, some days you get bad teammates.
Right. Because Cyan just likes anime fighters because of anime.
I actually might like... I love the anime fighters. I do. BlazBlue is like my favorite fighting game franchise right now because it's so fast paced, and I hate that this is a thing, but like I play the most anime characters too because I like the really fast ones that do like 6 quick hits within the second and do like a little bit of damage every time, which is always like the anime girliest of anime girls, you know, like,
who runs with one arm behind their back no matter what, right? Like, dude, I bet if they dash an arm's going behind their back, I'm sorry, it's happening. It'd be like this, or they'd be like, I don't know, what is it, Naruto or something?
Yeah,
that runs like
arms
this
behind the back. Go around.
Is that Naruto? Am I saying that right? You're the professional here. I don't know.
Shut the fuck up. Doubles, end the call. We out.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, see you next time. Cool. So, you are really big into Overwatch.
I'm kind of into Overwatch.
Yeah. Okay. You know
way
more about Overwatch than I do. And so you had somebody on a chill chat. I forgot the guy's name. I'm such a jerk. Oh yeah, duh. Right. He went to Toronto, right? Or no, was it Toronto?
He went to the Overwatch League Finals, which was in New York.
New York, that's what it was. I think there's comparisons to Toronto in the conversation. That's why. Yeah, this is how little I know about it. So how do you see the Overwatch scene going on? Because that's a relatively new concept for Blizzard. Well, it's brand new for them, really. How is that scene working out right now? Like, if you have any knowledge, shed it.
Oh man, these are like such big boy meme questions. Like, you're asking questions that I feel like I could spend an hour on. I'm so sorry. I love the sound of my own voice too. Like, shut me up whenever you want. Overwatch is the most interesting thing in esports right now by a landslide, because Season 1 has gone way better than anyone thought it would. I remember when the first OWL broadcast went up, nobody was thinking that it would hit. Like maybe it would spike into triple digits. Maybe that was like the wildest dreams of the most optimistic people in the Overwatch scene. And it has crushed viewership's expectations. And that's like a great, tremendous success story for the league, right? Because they have huge amounts of investment from these teams to buy these slots, with promise of even more investment coming, because these teams are going to have to build brick and mortar locations or tap into these brick and mortar locations and travel and blah, 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 blah. So that's great. It's great that Season 1 has gone so much better than anyone's hopes or dreams. But now we're coming into Season 2. They're trying to expand. They're getting new teams on board, and the asking price has gone up again by a lot, by an awful lot. And it's so, so interesting, because it really does feel make or break for the industry on whole in some small part, because there are so many eyes, there are so many affluent investors from mainstream sports, from mainstream business, from mainstream investment companies and things like that, right? And it's almost scary, but it's like, if it works, oh my God, like the second Toronto gets an Overwatch League team, I can't see me not trying to submit a resume. Like, I just can't see it. I would love to be a part of that. If it works, it will change everything. And if it doesn't work, it will change everything. It is a fascinating, because my favorite part about esports too has always been like the business side of things, trying to speculate like where things are headed, because this is such a new industry and it's so cutting edge. I love trying to figure things out like that. So yeah, it's been a real trip. They've had a lot of trips in their trip, but yeah, it's such a crazy time right now, the Overwatch League. So crazy.
Yeah, I feel bad that I don't follow it more, because whenever Overwatch came out, I was really into it. I was even starting to know some like the pros names, and a lot of them I recognized because there was a lot of like CS:GO people coming over, and I was dabbled in that for a while. But I don't. It's so weird how much the game has changed since. It's like kind of like watching it. Visually, it's not different, but mechanically, it has changed so much since it came out. And for the better. So they try, because it came out as kind of like, to a lot of people's criticism, is a Team Fortress 2 clone, and it's come so far from there. They literally have they had the payload, it's like literally like the meat and
when the game came out, I didn't even feel like it was a released finished game, because there was only the one thing to do, like you could queue, quick play, and that was the game. That was what they released. And I mean, even still to this day, like, far be it for me to level a whole bunch of criticism there, because they have done a lot of good work, but there's no match replays. That's a huge deal for me as a content creator, because when Overwatch was released, I wanted that to be there so that I could make content. I had things that I had planned, and I can't do that still. And yeah, even the spectating features are still very lackluster. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you say that and you're right. I still feel like there's so much ground to keep going, you know?
Oh yeah, totally. And that's again, that's shame on me for not keeping up with it.
Oh, no.
Like I remember the strats in the early, like the first couple like big tournaments was everybody. There was no limit on how many people could be the same character. So it was like literally like a team would all like the first minute of the game they would all start off as Hanzo. And just do like the burst arrow and like spam it everywhere. And they're like, if you get a headshot, like you kind of win the game. Like you're gonna win the first like at least push because it's you immediately make it what like 6 versus 5 or 5 versus 4, whatever the numbers are there.
Yeah. I argued against that change too. I was like, oh no, but guys, I mean, it's really fun though. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
But they completely changed the meta by doing that, and I was like really for it. But then immediately after I was like, but I missed the memes that were happening of people like, hey, I'm gonna play 2 Winstons. Like how overpowered is that? Maybe not as much anymore.
Like they had to change it. It was so stupid too. Like if your whole team spawned as D.Va, there's like Envious did this famous game where they were at the end point of Hanamura as defense, and they just kept spawning as D.Va. So one of them would run out, get to the point with the jet boost, and just keep it in overtime, and eventually they'd all be building up their charge for the self-destruct. And they just won after like 10 minutes of overtime or something just so ridiculous. It's like, okay, this needs to change. This is done now.
Yeah. But my favorite part about what Overwatch is doing is we've even talked about this already, but I just want to bring it up again. And you already kind of mentioned it too, but the fact that it's that regional teams, that's just, I can't stress how cool that is, and how I know it's been tried it's been done in the past, but I feel like this is the first time that's been done like pretty successfully. Yeah. Where I have people who I play StarCraft against, and it's like we're kind of like bitter rivals because of Chobo Team League. They'll message me and they're like, Houston just kicked Boston's ass. I fucking hate you. And I'm like, well, that's the context. I had no idea. I'm like, what? Like baseball? Like, of course we did. That's duh.
Yeah.
But then I'm finding they're talking about the Overwatch team. And I'm like, Houston has a great this is great. It's a great way to get people into, Andy, man, get out of here. But it was a good, I don't know. It's a great segue to get new people into esports, because all of a sudden they have loyalty, like brand loyalty, right? Because right now in StarCraft, if you're an American getting into StarCraft, how much brand loyalty do you have when you watch these major events? You have like Neeb, That's it. Which that's not it. I'm sorry, NA people. We have a lot of really amazing players in NA, but if you look at the EU scene who we're fighting against, it's just not comparable, right? And Canada has a couple. We have Masa, and they have Scarlet. Yeah, Scarlet really freaking.
Scarlet Semper. Canada has some of the best foreigners of all time, actually.
Yeah, very good players. Rifkin.
Huck. Shout out to my man Huck.
Yeah. But it's again that's so like if you're trying to get Americans into something, I feel like, because whenever I watched WCS in Austin last April, or not last April before last, whatever. The reason I like Neeb is because A, I play Protoss, and B, he's American, and I was like, this guy's great. You're my favorite now. Before it was like Puck or something, it's just like, oh, these guys are fantastic.
Funnily enough, when I first found StarCraft, I was like, oh, I guess this is a thing that I'm doing now. I'm going to watch StarCraft. I just Google searched like, who is the best Canadian player, and it was Huck. And it was like he was the best player outside of Korea. And I was like, okay, cool. I cheer for Huck now, and I cheer for EGE. We stand Huck in this chat. Like that was what I Googled. That was what I searched. And I feel like a lot of people do that. Yeah.
So back to my point. I think that's a super cool idea. Really good for esports, and that chill chat you had that you're mentioning is like a lot of the people who are there watching this tournament. This is their first esport. It's Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I know I have friends who are absolutely just like they're diamond, which in my opinion is pretty stupid good in Overwatch. It's kind of hard to get to diamond, I think, especially for how kind of casual that they are with everything else. These guys, like they're known for being like competitive board game players, And all of a sudden they pick up, they're like, hey, you want to play Overwatch? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to shit on you. You know, like video games are what I do. You guys are idiots for even inviting me over. And I'm like, oh, you're actually like, you guys are really into this game. I'm impressed. And it has had that phenomenon. And I think that's really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, there's so many just new esports fans. Like people fail to realize too, there's this huge segment of women watching esports through Overwatch, and they're not on Reddit, right? They're on Tumblr, and they are esports consumers waiting to be tapped into. And yeah, it's so great. It's so great to have all these people coming in through anything at all. But Overwatch has been like finally tailored and crafted to be the perfect vehicle to bring a whole bunch of people into the whole community, which is great.
It is. So, you know, current event that happened recently, that one like Call of Duty player who was dating that one famous like weather I don't know what weather people are called. The girl who dressed like really scandalously and did weather, but she was considered one of the most beautiful women in South America. Professional Call of Duty player, broke up with her because they were dating for a long time because he wanted to focus more on games. And like the news in my area, like we have morning talk shows and stuff in Houston that I'm sure everybody else has. This dude was just like tearing this guy apart. He's like, "Are you kidding? Like, you have this most like the hottest woman in the world, and you're breaking up with her for a game." And it just got me so like triggered, you know. And my wife and I had a big debate, and I'm like, I don't think you understand how it's the exact same thing as sports, but just like, and she's like, well, no, they're athletes. And I'm like, yeah, they're physically capable, but you need to look at countries like Korea and see how they're handling esports, where like the professional soccer players were like hyped as shit because they brought their favorite StarCraft players to meet them when they went to the Olympics. You know, like that's how it works in other, like esports has such a huge future. And I think Overwatch is going to be, I honestly think Overwatch is what's going to tap into America's recognition of that.
It's going to be something. I think that's just the bottom line. Like, it's going to be something, and hopefully it's Overwatch. I really like Overwatch, so I hope it's Overwatch.
I just hope it's Blizzard that does it, and that's not just a fanboy thing. It's more of like they have the least, besides Hearthstone maybe, but Hearthstone's so RNG that maybe not. It's like they really don't buy into the pay to win and the DLC, which they do release DLCs, but it's not like EA does it. It's not like BioWare does it. It's not how other people do it. To where it's like they never release, except maybe Overwatch, but even then it was like a little different. They don't release part of a game and then make you pay for the rest of it. You know, like, which actually ironically they're I say that, but they're partnered with Activision, who released Destiny 2 is like literally the first day of content cost $60, and the next expansion, if you wanted to play for more than a day's worth of content, you have to pay $30, you know?
Oof. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they're pretty separate though. Like, it's ActiBliz, but they're pretty separate. And like people shit on Overwatch all the time too. It's like, oh, loot boxes, grr. But Overwatch's loot box system is the best loot box system. That is what you would want in your video game if you're gonna have loot boxes.
Yeah. I mean, look at League of Legends, right? I mean, that's where they make their money is it's not loot boxes, but I mean, like, you have to, you're not paying to get characters, you're paying to customize the way they look, you know? And that's fine. Like, that's where they're going to make their money. I mean, it all comes back down to the Team Fortress 2 hats, right? They really set the standard of what to do there. But so while we're talking about other games, what have you ever been like at a semi-pro level playing video games?
Oh, no. The best I've been at a video game is so niche that it's so irrelevant. But I used to play Team Fortress 2 a ton, and I used to play on a ranked all crit server, like all the time. And all crits, it was all crits, and it was all orange map variants. If anybody knows what that is, like
I do.
Oh, do you? Are you a Team TF2?
Yeah, dude, I was big. I wasn't huge into it, but I played a really good medic. You know?
Fuck yeah, dude! You're a valuable asset to the team.
Yes, dude. It's shot caller on the team, right?
Hell yeah, yeah. Yeah. So like all crits is so different than regular Team Fortress, and
I can imagine.
It was like the first time I had encountered ranked in a video game, really. And I used to play with a friend a lot, and we would grind that the fuck out. And It was a really popular server at the time too. It was like the only ranked all cards one, I guess. So the leaderboard was out of like thousands and thousands of people, and I got up to rank. I think my peak was rank 12 or rank 13. But like real pro, like real semi-pro, absolutely not. Like the best I've ever been in StarCraft is like high diamond. Not really at all.
But that okay, so I know that's the meme. I met Genesis in Austin, and horrible first impression for me because I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, you're Genesis, right?" And he just looked at me. He's like, "This is a bad first impression." And I was like, "Look, dude, we're in a nightclub. Like, it's super fucking loud. Everybody hears StarCraft. I was seeing like Jon Snow, but like, is it Jon Snow? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like all these people. The only person who I immediately saw was like Toast. I saw him and I was like, "Oh, you're Toast." And then I saw like Rifkin walked in, and I was like, "Oh, you're obviously Rifkin." You know, and Nathanius is with them and stuff. But Genesis, I was like, I'm not as familiar with him, so I walked up to him, and talked to him. But he was kind of memeing with me afterwards. He's saying like, "Hey, it's like, oh, you're probably what Diamond, right?" And I was like, "I'm proud. I'm fucking proud of being Diamond."
Hell yeah, dude.
It was hard to get there. I'm in the top 35% of the world, right? Like,
fuck yeah,
if you're Diamond, that's good. Yep. I don't care what anybody says. Even if you're Platinum, you're good.
I love you, Duddles. This is such a huge problem that I have with the StarCraft 2 community, actually. Like, this toxic mentality where if you're not top 50 GM on Korea, you are bad at the game. Outright right. Bad. You're bad at the game. You're trash.
Even if you're top 50, if you're not top 5 of Korea, then you suck. Like, people say that Sue sucks. Are you kidding me?
It's just such an overly negative attitude for people to adopt of like their own self too. Like if you hit platinum, buddy, this game's so hard. That's insane. Very few people in their lives will ever be able to do what you just did. Own it. Like if you're even like gold, like you are mid tier. You are good at the game. You have a passing grade at this. Good for you. Own it.
Yeah, and so. In the actual, I take this game seriously, and I put a lot of time into learning it. Diamond is average, I think, right? Like low diamond. That means like, hey, it's maybe even high average. It's like, hey, I watch replays. I watch the game competitively. I go to spawningtool.com or go to like All Things Protoss or something. I can get to diamond now because I have a pretty good knowledge of the game. So in those kind of people, maybe not. Maybe it's not great. That's whenever it's starting, masters players are really where you want to be, right? But I'm okay with being like, I can't put the time into the game. So the fact that I can play, like once or twice a week, Diamond's good. And anybody else out there, if you're Diamond, good for you, man. Great.
Hell yeah.
Also, if you're Diamond and you want to play competitively, join Chobo Team League. What are you doing? Or something. Just get involved. Play some tournaments. Like Proxy Tempest has a Plat Diamond tournament twice a week. Get in on it. Yeah, I think it's really cool. The thing, just I don't know, StarCraft in general. It's so hard to not get passionate about it. In my opinion, I don't understand how it's not like the crazy biggest thing ever. Yeah, so TF2 is what you said is pretty much like the most.
I was also really good at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh. The fuck, it's an anime card game, man. You do this to yourself, right?
No, I know. Yeah, like 2010 Yu-Gi-Oh was legitimately a really good card game. It was so fun, and I was pretty good at that.
Yeah, I never got into card games. Hearthstone's the only one I even kind of liked.
I'm looking forward to Artifact. I'm kind of just excited for something new to shake that whole world up because I'm not really into the Hearthstone style of gameplay.
Yeah, it's too RNG, right?
Yes, I really dislike Hearthstone specifically for that, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I always wanted to play Magic, but it's expensive, so I couldn't. Damn, my mom wasn't going to buy me an $85 deck, right?
85, oof. I play a fair amount of Magic the Gathering. I play a lot of EDH now because there's no scene for any of the like Eternal formats that are really competitive, and I fuck Standard, dude. You have to buy a new deck like every year. I do not have the money for that, so we're not doing it.
Right. It's too expensive a hobby. I'd rather play, like I don't know. I'd rather play a game remotely than in person. People I'd love to see people in person, but it's like that's a commitment. I can't just like get up in the middle of a Magic game and be like, hey, we have to finish this later. You have to get out of my house.
Yeah.
You know, like why? Sure. It's like I can't just bullshit my way out of it and be like, I'm just tired of playing. You know, like
I got you. I really do like EDH though. EDH is a very chill format where once you have your deck, you just have it. So
yeah, I think that's good. I could get into that a little bit more, but yeah, I think that covers most of or all my itinerary that I came up with. I'm going to give you some fan questions, and these are really good.
Oh no! I like that.
Actually,
really good.
There really aren't that many, but boy, are they serious. So Lord of Terrans asks, I'm going to do some vanity here. What do you think of the best site ever, Duddles.com?
I went to this actually,
it's such an inside joke.
Please explain. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I guess I gotta have to. Okay, so whenever I was an admin for Chobo Team League, I hated the way that we did lineup submissions. Like, so the captains for every team, you know, we had like 14 teams playing that season. They would submit lineups, and it's all like text based. But there's like you have to provide their name, their like profile link on our website. Then for the actual person playing, their league, the map they're playing on, and like some other bullshit. It was just it was so much. And so then you had to do it in a certain format because we put that into like this Excel spreadsheet and then have it automatically generate HTML and like Liquipedia code format. So we didn't have to go and like randomly, manually enter all this stuff. And it just sucked. So I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make I'm going to make a web application where they just literally have a drop down menu and they're like selecting, okay, so it automatically knows what map, whatever for week. They just pick their players and submit it. It worked. When it worked, everybody loved it. But I mean, I write code for a living, but like I don't get paid. Like I was like, you guys don't understand. This would cost you $10,000 to have made for you, like if you want to get this. So I'm not putting my life at work into this, like I was like 2 weeks of the work and I was like, it kind of works. I think I'm done. Yeah. But it was kind of a shit show sometimes. And so they came up with like, I don't know. It's something I can't live down because of how many times it would break. Plus I was hosting it on a friend's like computer, like wasn't even a server. So it was just so horrible.
I get it now. What is Duddles.com? It's on fire.
Yeah. And so that's what the joke is. All right, so I feel like that question was too much about me. That was a bad question, Lord of Terrans.
I like hearing about it. Inject yourself into these. That's a good thing to do, honestly.
Well, because nobody still actually knows who I am, so I might as well get a little bit of history of.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Cyan asks, the other Cyan, not China Cyan, but the American Cyan from Psystorm Gaming asks, I have one. Why does he use Cyan? From Cyan.
I used to have another handle that I had owned since like actually grade 8, and it was like some basis of a grade 8 nickname. There was like an acronym in there that I didn't even remember what it was for. So a while ago, I was like, okay, I've by far so outgrown this. I need to find something else. And I like searched high and low for like a year, and I couldn't figure out anything. I was like, oh man, nothing sounds right. This is all bad. And I saw a post somewhere that was like, I think it was on Tumblr. It was like a bunch of screen caps of like movies and shit. And it was all like something magic was about to go down. And it was all like the science swirls of ethereal energy around these multiple movies or whatever. And the post was like, oh yeah, whenever the science swirls come out, something crazy is about to go down. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of true. And it just happens to be my favorite color. And I was like, Cyan, I like it. And at the time, there were I was very consciously trying to be like, if I wanted to do content, what could I brand myself as? So I looked it up, and there was like no content creators that were going by Cyan, no pro players, but going by Cyan. And then like 4 months later, Chinese Cyan came to change his name. He changes his name all the time too. This is what really gets me. He changes his name all the time, but once he found Cyan, he landed on that, and he has just stuck with it since that point for like 4 years now. Because of course he did.
Right? Why not?
Yeah.
I fortunately don't have that problem very much. I've never. We actually have a guy on our team named Puddles, but it's actually just Puddle, but everyone calls him Puddles because I'm Duddles, and they're like we just pluralized him. So that's the only time it's ever really been confusing. Yeah. Actually, so there's some chat questions that are pretty good. I like these. So I don't know about the 5-minute breakdown on 2010 Yu-Gi-Oh. If you want to go for it, you can. I don't mind.
Oh God. Okay. I think the best thing about 2010 Yu-Gi-Oh that always stands out to me, I just like making my own decks. I hated, like, there was a real stigma around net decking in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, where that is like something wins a big tournament and then everybody goes online, just takes that list for their own, buys those cards, plays with those cards, and just wins because they have good cards more than anything else. It's not that they're good deck builders or strategists; they just have the best deck. Because Konami was really shit at printing cards, and they would just print the best deck and sell products. So I really like building things that were original, that used older cards, that like, oh, this is just a good card, I can make this work, and trying to make it work. And that period of time was really, really good for that like creative streak in me to try and make that happen, because I made decks that were really cool that nobody else was using, and I made it work. I actually helped to innovate like a mainline deck at one point. One of the lists that I produced for a certain archetype was like actually looked at by like some of the pro players at the time, and I did something, right? And just the state of the game. It was during Exceeds, but before the pendulum bullshit. It was just really simple, like your extra deck. This is all like, yeah, it was just a really good point in the game. My favorite archetypes were all like, I could make them viable, and it was fun to play, and I liked doing combo-y bullshit, and it was before Konami really jumped off a cliff with their printing policy, and it was just as good as Yu-Gi-Oh could get, and that's not great, but it was pretty good. It was fun for me because I was playing with my friends, and it was in high school and stuff.
Yeah. You were in high school in 2010? That's fine. I'm just old.
It's kind of, I feel old now. I mean, I don't know.
Well, how if you don't mind, how old are you? Like, you're like
I just
27? 25. Okay. Yeah. So I'm 6 years older than you.
Oh, no way. Really? Oh, you look like you could, you look like you could be like one of my pals, dude.
Right. Yeah. I eat very scrupulously whenever I go out and drink. It's great. It's bittersweet. I'm finally at an age to where it's okay, but like growing up, it was horrible because I like, whenever I was like 2 years old, they were like, "Hey, are you even born yet?" I just always looked really young. Okay, so actually no, I'm gonna keep some of these chat ones. So your favorite meta in StarCraft 2? I don't know if he means like current or like what was your favorite like.
I think, well, I'll take it as favorite of all time because I get to tell you about how wonderful Mutiling Bane is. Mutiling Bane is the best army composition in StarCraft 2. It is my favorite to control. That's actually like when Legacy hit, I stopped playing for a while for a lot of different reasons, but in part because Mutiling Bane wasn't the go-to for Terran anymore, and it felt just terrible. But yeah, the best meta to play, to watch was Mutiling Bane versus Marine Marauder of Medevac, 100% all the time. Bring it back, Blizzard. That's what's up.
Right. That's a good one. As a Protoss player, fuck Mutiling Bane back in those days. I had a friend who literally like wasn't good at StarCraft, except he was able to just put lings and banelings at your front door while hitting you with your mineral line with mutas. And I knew he was going to do it. I would prepare for it. I watched videos on how to beat it. Couldn't beat it. I had no idea what to do against it. And I was like gold back then, but still like I hated it. So did any man ask a question? Oh yeah, it's really, really hard hitting stuff, guys. Do you eat your pizza without pineapple?
Absolutely. Every day of my life.
You eat pizza every day of your life?
Every day that I eat pizza is without pineapple.
Okay. Would you be if somebody were to give you a free pizza with pineapple on it, would you be upset?
Well, no. I mean, they're being nice enough to give me a free pizza. It's nice that they think of me like that. I mean, you can't turn it down like that. That's just rude.
Right. Do y'all have CCs in Canada?
Okay, well, like where I am in Canada, we don't have a lot of things the rest of Canada does, so I don't know what that is, but that's not a fair representation of the country.
Okay, but I should have just asked, do you have CCs? So,
okay. No.
Okay, so it's an all-you-can-eat pizza buffet where the pizza's like, but it's still pizza. Okay. It's you pay like $11 and you can just like go to town forever. It's like perfect for like little kid birthday parties. But I mean, like I'd always get one slice with like a Hawaiian pizza just because it's just interesting to me. I'm like, why is there pineapples? And I'd eat it and I'm like, I get it, I guess. Like
Sure.
it's sweet and savory. They go well together. It's just not like a traditional pizza. I just think that everybody should just get over themselves, mostly Andy Man. But while we're on the topic of food, this is a perfect segue to what Falcon Paladin asks: crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Both.
Both. Good answer,
Both.
but good answer, kind of. So if you were to get a spoonful of peanut butter right now, crunchy or smooth?
Well, I mean, they both serve different purposes, right? Like crunchy peanut butter is probably better when you're using it as a spread alone. Like if you're going to make a sandwich out of a peanut butter sandwich, just pure peanut butter, crunchy's probably the way to go. If you're going to put peanut butter on toast, probably just crunchy's the way to go. Get that nice melty action too. But if you're going to like mix the peanut butter with another flavor, if you're going to like just eat it straight as a spoon thing or whatever like that, a nice smooth peanut butter can be the choice. Although like to just eat as a spoon, crunchy's probably still the way to go most of the time. But if you're making like, do you ever have like a peanut butter and cheese sandwich? You ever try that?
I have.
So good. You can't use crunchy for that. You can't do it.
I feel like you still could.
It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as good. Not in my opinion.
Okay. So you just answered it almost the exact same as I did. Whenever I wasn't asked, but jumped on a thread somewhere else that Falcon Paladin shared. So smooth peanut butter serves a purpose, and it's for cooking, right? It's for baking. Like peanut butter cookies.
Absolutely,
You don't use crunchy peanut butter for that.
I want to now, but okay.
I'm sure it'd still be great. But like the peanut butter cookies, fine as it is. Like I bet crunchy would be good too. But like I just don't understand when people are like, oh, just it's like smooth or get out. Like why is there crunchiness to peanut butter? I'm like it's because it's peanuts.
Wrong. Yeah, hell yeah.
Peanuts in it.
Love it.
God, it's like I hate when people's opinions are wrong. All right, and this is my last question from unless I hear some more. Did I hear that wrong? No, you didn't. Cheese and peanut butter. And this is so incredibly out of left field, except for yesterday was the 75th 5-year anniversary of the nuclear bomb dropping on Hiroshima. Yeah, we're going little off the deep end here. So was the nuking of Hiroshima and Nagasaki justified? 73rd anniversary. I'm sorry, not 75th. What do you think that those were justified responses?
Who the fuck asked this?
Falcon Paladin did.
What? Okay, so I feel like I'm decently well equipped for this because I actually am a big history buff, and we studied the hell out of this in high school, and I studied history in university too for a little bit. That's not like an answerable question because hindsight's not perfect, and the reasoning that the Americans used when they dropped the bomb is that, well, the Japanese culture is just never going to allow them to actually surrender, and we are going to fight the most disgusting land war where so many people are going to die and suffer and it's going to be terrible. We're just going to nuke them. And then they had to give up because of course they did. But the counter argument to that is, well, in that disgusting land war, at least the people that would have been fighting and mostly dying would have been soldiers that signed up to do so. You don't have like horrific deaths and suffering from nuclear radiation and nuclear fallout, and you don't wipe out like so many people in an instance. So I'm not prepared to take a stance in front of the internet audience where it's recorded for prosperity. But
there's no way you can't screw that up, right? Like
yeah. It's one of those. There is no right answers, so I will just not answer, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. I told him I'd ask. So it's a good question. It's not maybe not for a StarCraft 2 interview question.
For like a historian debate topic. That's what's up.
Right. Well, man, do you have any plugs that you want to throw? Like what anything in particular that you just want to like, hey, let's get out there to the Dank Shrine fam.
No, I feel bad for taking up as much time as I have almost. I mean,
oh, dude, I'm happy that it's gone on at least, if I don't get at least like an hour and a half in, I'm like, why did we even do this interview, right?
It's very, very rare that I'm on this side of the interview, so love it. You did a great job. I do want to shout out to Turisky in the chat. I saw you asking all those questions. One that I saw, Cyan, you've mentioned Tumblr a couple times. Do you have an account?
Yeah.
If not, do you want to I do have like a Cyan Tumblr account. Everything is just /Cyan Esports, or I think for Tumblr it's cyanesports.tumblr.com. I don't post there, and I should, because I keep saying, oh wow, I should really post there, because having social media presence is just good. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like a personal account that's out there and stuff, I don't. It's just a personal account. Like, you don't want to see the shit that I post there anyways, I promise. In terms of like topics and stuff, like, man, you killed it, Duddles. You're doing a great job. I love this series, man. This is what I originally set out to really kind of try and accomplish when I started to do video interviews. But then I realized, like, wow, people like Zombie Grub and In Control are actually really accessible people who are totally down to chat, even with somebody of my level. And I veered off course. But this is so important for the scene, man. You're killing it. You're doing such a good job. This was a great, well-researched interview, I thought. And it was really, really good talking to you. Cyan Esports on all platforms. Twitter.com/Cyan Esports, Twitch.tv/Cyan Esports, YouTube.com/Cyan Esports. I guess that's my plug.
Right. Awesome. And dude, such high praise. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I really am. I am working hard, but only doing one a month is really, I think, the secret to that. Right. It gives me time to actually like think about what I want to talk about. And like even if I didn't know somebody, it's like, do they stream? Please stream. Like, let me go eavesdrop on their streams so I can come up with some materials. Thank you for streaming. I totally
lucky,
forgot.
Actually, I haven't streamed in forever, but I just turned it on the other day.
Right. So yeah, good on me there. I don't think I asked you this. Alaris asks, what's the difference between cyan and turquoise?
So in terms of like the color palette in technical terms, I guess, cyan is like a much more of a blue color than I associate it with. I think in my head, I associate cyan with more of a turquoise color. But if you Google search cyan images, there's like, they're used to, actually, it's like the first one that comes up. The Wikipedia link for cyan. There's like this grid almost of so many different colors. And like the top middle and then the middle right, those are the ones that I most associate with cyan. That's just me.
God, yeah, that's just so many.
Mm-hmm. Actually, when I was getting my like logo and stuff done, the artist, I was like, yeah, I wanted to be like a cyan color, because of course I do. And he brought me like some drafts and stuff, and I was like, okay, cool, this is like really good. I love this, but could you make it like a little bit more green in color? And he was like, yeah, but that's not cyan. I was like, no, I know, but like, I think it, it is kind of cyan, because I did this thing where I like made him Google search, and I was like, look, it's right there, like that color. And he's like, yeah, okay, but that's not what cyan is. And he's like, maybe a little bit tilted, I think, maybe. I don't know, man.
Oh, I have a
like
great question
colors.
for you. If you add bacon to a grilled cheese sandwich, is it a grilled cheese sandwich?
I am a subscriber to our grilled cheese. There's a point where it becomes a melt. I don't think just adding a couple of strips of bacon is that point, though. I think it's still a grilled cheese.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's just a couple strips of bacon, Like, if you're going ham and you're like, well, if you're adding like slices of ham and doing some crazy stuff, then you have a melt. But I think a slice of bacon or two, that's still a grilled cheese.
Okay. So Tech 4, I don't know if you know who he is. We were running against each other for the Chobo Team League admin spot, and that was like the big he in his like running video that he made, because we actually campaigned against each other. It was such a stupid meme, because like neither one of us even really wanted it that much. We're kind of like, we were both asked to do it, so whatever, we'll do it. But he was talking about, he started telling a story about how there's somebody who he was like trying to describe like my passion for the community or something. And he's like, yeah, somebody in my team told me that they'd never had a grilled cheese. So he literally like made one and mailed it to the guy, which is hilarious.
That's
but in
so
the story,
dank.
He added bacon to it, and I was like, whoa! I thought you said you mailed him a grilled cheese, not a melt. Like, don't get me wrong, the sandwich sounds great. But yeah, so it was a big thing, and that's actually why I won, is because more people believe it literally became like, vote for Duddles if you think grilled cheese can't have anything besides bread, spread, and cheese. And then like
spread.
Yeah, like
you guys don't use American cheese slices.
No, spread. Spread? No. Spread is like butter or mayonnaise or something like that. Yeah. No. Spread or bread, spread, and cheese. So cheese you can do like cheddar or something like that.
Gotcha.
But I'm happy we had some. How's Andy Man just keeps on getting ban. Oh, he got timed out for the entire link. Yeah, I wish I could like do /allow, but whatever. Anyway,
dude, man, Toast is rocking my world right now. Apparently, I'm right about the cyan. That's like that. Yeah, okay, it is more green. Killer.
Yep.
Toast just posting links, random color links in chat. Love it.
Right. My favorite thing is that Toast has posted that link twice now, and Andy Man got timed out for posting the same link. that was already posted.
I hate the broadcast though. Counts more.
Right. But it's like after he already did it, though. That's what I think is funny. Oh man. So yeah, I think that's it. I just want to say again, Andy Man was here the whole time. He gave us that. Thank you so much for the host with Proxy Tempest. Really appreciate that, man. I think the spirit of the amateur scene in StarCraft being thrown, like showing love like that. I think hosts are such the coolest things you can do. So thank you so much for that. It means a lot. If you like Andy Man or want to know about Andy Man or myself, Mitosis Gaming is our Discord that we run together. It's probably I don't know. It's a really cool place to be. Andy Man really does most of the work in it now because it originally started as kind of the central hub of our tournaments that we did. But now it's mostly just Andy Man's stream, kind of like saying, hey, like this guy does Proxy Tempest and he does fantastic replays. And boy, oh boy, is he a sexy guy. So join our Discord, hang out, get some memes in. If you have some replays, we will cast them. He will cast them. Sometimes I hop on as a guest, but and that's all I really have. Thank you again so much, Toast, for making this all happen. And well, this got Robo Andy. This got weird. And thank you, Cyan, so much for being here, dude. I really appreciate it. We're both long-winded dudes, so boy, did we talk a lot. And it was an absolute pleasure to interview me, and you're such a likable guy. So, you at least got a fan out of me, buddy.
Aw, shucks. Thanks, man.
But I think that's it. I think we should throw this stream to a host somewhere else. I don't know if Toast has somebody in mind, but I kind of want to see who's on.
Shoutouts to the Twitch chat too. Shoutouts to my homies that show up in the Twitch chat. I know who you are. I see you. Got you.
Yeah, guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for y'all. Twitch chat and Twitter chat too, because I feel like some of these people I recognize from Twitter. And yeah, thanks. Fresh, I plan on doing this. If you don't know that much about this show, I'm going to be doing these once a month, hopefully twice a month soon. I'm going to try to work that out. But yeah, I know. Like up next, I'm going to be interviewing Starkiller eventually. Maynard said he was interested in doing something with me, but I don't want to just interview Maynard because that defeats the purpose of the show. But like maybe him and somebody else. Proxy Tempest people are going to be on there. Cranky Ducklings. I'm definitely going to be interviewing them. It's pretty much the OGC scene. Yeah. Need to buy a beer to listen to Tuttle's talk this long. I know, right? So we're gonna throw the host up. I'm gonna let Toast host whoever he wants. He's the coolest guy ever. So thank you again, Toast, for letting me talk on your show. And you guys have a great night. If Toast is here, I don't know if he's here or not.
He's posting in the chat. Yeah. Maybe he's just muted. How do we know? We also both did the hard hands there. It was incredibly awkward. I feel slighted as your guest. Okay.